giving a lecture.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And whatever you heard about it.
We got it. We're going. Sorry. I'm gonna.
All right, so we're ready?
Thanks. Everybody's ready? Yes.
Okay. All right. Where would you like me to go first?
Okay, just turn right.
Yeah, it's really impressive. This morning,
And by the way, the information I have.
Where's your cool?
Do you feel safe with me removing my mask?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
You've all had your shots, haven't you?
Yeah, we're all fully vaccinated, yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay, just slow us just a little bit. Slow down. Now, this is a new building, the Elaine High School. The old building, which was there in 1919 by Papa Pink, who gave me all of this information, was incarceration there. And it was from there he was compelled to help bury the dead souls in Elaine. Okay, but this is all a new facility now. Okay, well, just share that a little bit with you. We'll turn right.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of this house here?
Yeah, is that
That's the old Countess's house, J.M. Countess. But I knew he and his sister. Well, they owned Countess Farm south of Elaine.
And it was a plantation, right?
Yes, plantation house.
Okay. Is it still in that family?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe a grandson has it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone else has a question, I know.
Does anyone have questions?
You know, my business law professor in college told me there was just one foolish question, and that's the question you fail to ask. It might seem insignificant. I'll still try to answer it. Okay.
Are you a lawyer, or were you a lawyer?
No.
Okay.
No.
What did you go to school for?
I was affiliated with the University of Arkansas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up here and what do you do? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in Phillips County.
Okay.
Some 83 years ago.
Wow.
My parents had a separation. My mom went to live in Cromrod, and this is where we're going now. I went to live with my grandmother in West Helena. Okay, so she raised me. So it's a matter of West Helena to Pine Bluff to Detroit, back to Cromrod to Elaine. Yeah, so I'm sort of, I won't say well-traveled, but I'm traveled in my growing up. So I think I have a little bit of the South in me, a little bit of the North in me, and but anyway, I love the area, and I think there's great potential in this area. And these are some of the things that we're working to try to move this area forward to the 22nd century. Yeah.
Air. Put the air down. No, the actual air, the blue on the right.
And the vent.
Thanks.
Because it's loud.
Yeah, and then you can cut the vent down,
Yeah.
so that it's just cold. You can cut the vent down so that it's colder, but it's not as loud. I'm sorry, up there. Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about what you did for a living, or what you do for a living?
Yeah, well, I'm retired.
Okay.
I'm retired. I worked as a lab technician
Wow.
for the Mohawk Rubber Company,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked there 14 and a half years. I was a DUT coordinator for the
Mm-hmm.
Phillips County Developmental Center for 14 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
And I managed a retail business here in Elaine for 14 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
In between time, I worked as a substitute teacher
Wow.
in the Elaine school district. That's where my wife retired.
Mm-hmm.
She was a social worker there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about Elaine School District and how the school system is here?
But there's no more Elaine school district.
Okay.
The Marvel School District took over
Mm-hmm.
the Elaine School District some, I guess, 8 or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And believe it or not, the Elaine School District was a much better facility
Wow.
than the Marvel
Wow.
School District.
Mm-hmm.
But because sort of mismanagement, and I'm saying this respectfully, they came in and I guess with the help of the state, Elaine District was closed down. Now the Elaine School District covered some 50 or 60 miles where we're going south. Then there's Deerfield, Canaan Ridge, Snow Lake, Lacona Circle, all of those areas. But the state said that we didn't have enough children to keep the school functioning.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the Lakeview School District was in the process of closing. And learned later we only needed 4 students.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, only needed 4 students.
Wow.
Which I think we could have gotten from Lakeview if they had just communicated.
Mm-hmm. Was Lakeview predominantly white?
No, it was predominantly black.
It was predominantly, okay.
Yeah.
In Elaine, what's the most significant place that you feel that has had the greatest impact on you?
What's the most significant place in Elaine that has had the greatest impact on you?
The church. The church.
Could you tell us a little bit about growing up in the church?
Oh my. Well, I was born again as a child, and I've always, in fact, my dad tells me when I was very small that he would take me to church with him, and I would lie. I would lie
Turn it up
on.
one more. Just 2. 1, 2.
I would lie on the bench and go to sleep. But I guess my inner person
Mm-hmm.
would absorb what was being taught.
Yeah.
But growing up as a kid, I always had an aspiration of becoming a minister.
Wow.
I guess I really didn't make it, but some said I am.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God, there are at least 4 or 5 ministers in my family. I have 2 sons who are ministers,
Wow.
2 sisters, and I have several nieces who are ministers.
Wow.
So I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah.
But,
Seems like something touched you to be on there.
Yeah. So I love studying the Bible, and I love people because all people are God's people, even though they don't, a lot of time they don't act that way. But the Scripture teaches us, from one blood came all nations. And that's amen there.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, that's amen. Now, as you go on down, I need to show you a spot, right?
I'll start a second.
Yeah. Man, it's been a long time since I've been going down.
That's fine. Or keep going.
Yeah. No, it's off the, on the road. But anyway, I love my worship experience. I look forward to it. And even though this COVID has caused us to close the church, and subsequently we have mold in our church, so we haven't been able to really meet. But we do know the church is in the heart of man.
Mm-hmm.
Amen?
Amen.
Amen, yeah. So we still worship within my household, and we do a visual. In fact, I watch a service where my son is down in Killeen, Texas. Now, when we get down by these houses, I need to show you something to the right, if it hasn't grown up. Yeah, it's still there. Okay, between these 2 posts. Oh, no, that's
Yeah, it's good.
yeah. And this area right here, what we're looking at, was once a water tower. This is where the train would come and fill up the train with water. Well, there were 3 men taken off the train, and they were hanged from this tower, very tower right here. Amen. It finally rotten down. It was everything was wooden back then, during that day. But this is one of the spots, one of the memorable spots that we can't forget. Yeah.
Keep going?
You can proceed.
Is there a story behind why they were drug off the train?
Well, this was during 1919.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. I understand they had been hunting down in South Arkansas, and when the train stopped there to refill, they were taken off by men, and they were hanged. And of course, they didn't have support from law enforcement agency back during that day. Sad, but true.
Anybody have any questions?
I do. So you spoke a little bit about how COVID impacted the church of Elaine. How else did COVID impact Elaine in other aspects?
Well, it made everybody cautious, and it affected all of the churches.
Right.
I mean, they closed all of the churches. We have approximately 5 churches in Elaine. All of them were closed. Some of them have gone back to worshiping, at a safe distance, what have you. But that was a separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, separation, which is bad, and which was good,
Yeah.
because by us not knowing who had what. And by the way, we had people in Elaine who tested it positive for the COVID. Okay, in fact, one day, I think they were approximately 119
Wow.
who tested it. And now, when you think of Elaine,
What's the population size?
okay, that was next.
Yeah.
We are approximately 300 people. So that means I'm living near someone,
Yeah.
who had COVID at the time.
Right.
Yeah. But I think most of us have been vaccinated there.
Did anyone pass away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How?
We had, I believe, 2 people
Okay.
who passed away. In fact, one young man lives approximately a half a block from me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, passed away.
Where's the nearest hospital, just in case, something was to happen?
23 miles
Wow.
north of us.
Wow.
That's in Helena, Arkansas.
So were the vaccinations accessible overall, or did it take a while for them to roll out?
It took a time, a long time before they stopped vaccinating people in this area. And I'm not sure everyone has been vaccinated, even today.
Right.
Yeah, because there are those who are still skeptical of it,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So does church and religion play a really big part of Elaine's community aspects?
Yes.
It does.
Yes. The church, your bank.
And
Those-
and faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, as far as COVID, is the average population in Elaine young people, or is it older, middle-aged?
That depends.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about people of color,
Yes.
then mostly younger people.
Okay.
That's because places like Ratio once was populated with houses.
Mm-hmm.
They burn all the houses down,
Wow.
and those persons came to Elaine to live. We have 3 government apartments in Elaine.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a lot of young people in Elaine. Now, if you're talking about Caucasian, it is basically elderly.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, my wife said before she retired, she hardly saw a Caucasian child in school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess they moved off, elsewhere.
Can I ask about where your wife went to school for social work?
Where did your wife go to school for social work?
She went to Jonesboro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. ASU.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your favorite topic to substitute teach for?
What was your favorite topic to substitute teach for? We got to keep teachers on here.
Yeah. Well, I love history. And I love math also.
Math,
But
okay.
yes, but that was a particular instructor. Whenever she was away, she informed the principal she wanted me to teach her class. Now she said, seemingly, her class would have advanced a little farther when I taught them
Wow.
than when she was teaching them.
Wow.
But to me, learning was fun. Okay, and so we had fun in the classroom. Regardless what we were doing, it wasn't a riot. It was fun, but it was learning, and I enjoyed doing that.
When the school was open, what did they play sports and do like band competitions? How was the interaction with other school districts or other schools within the district?
How was the interaction with other school districts when the schools were open, as far as bands and sports
Okay.
and curriculum?
Okay. We never had a band in Elaine. In fact, I went through the Elaine school system. They took music out of the school. They said that they didn't have any money for it. I'm a lover of music, but I didn't finish school at Elaine. I finished school at Lakeview. So I went 2 years at Lakeview, and I was able to play in the band there. I played the trumpet. When I went on to college, I played the trumpet also. But it's been 50 years or more since I've tried to play the trumpet. I'm sure I can't play it now. But that was a beautiful instrument to me.
I wanted to ask about possible violence after 1919. Did it continue in the area? Were there still, acts of lynchings or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, this is 2021, and even though violence really isn't in Elaine today, but we do see it all over America, But there were so many instances where black men had to leave the area because of, in fact, Richard Wright. You're familiar with Richard Wright? Okay. Richard Wright uncle lived in Elaine.
Sorry.
Yes, it's a plantation house. That's the Williamson house. Williamson, yeah.
Oh, Richard Wright.
Yeah, they're white. Now, you get in the area where I partially grew up. We said across the railroad, which isn't a railroad any longer. And I lived approximately 12 light posts to the left. Okay. Back during the day, it was a long time ago, the first gin in this area was owned by my relatives. That was the Fergusons, okay? And they sort of got to fighting among themselves, and they lost all rights, okay? All right. They called this Crumrod, and down just a little farther, they still say Crumrod, but it's actually Ferguson. And let me say this. that the lands weren't run by sharecroppers, because a lot of the property here was black owned. Yeah, black owned. But during the 1919 riot, so many of our people had to run for their lives, leave their farms, and subsequently it was taken over by other people. Let's go to the postal office, and we'll sort of park, and we'll do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can drive in and. Oh, the limb might be too. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Did you want us to get out?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
I got this side and I have nowhere to get out.
Okay.
It was like, I'll get for 1 second.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna put this little recorder on you for a second.
Okay.
Remember this little guy? That way we'll be sure and get it when we get out. Okay, just take a second. Sorry, we're so discombobulated here.
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, when you speak later, just remember to have the mic close.
Yeah. Okay.
That way we'll be sure get all this valuable information. You just put it like right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was like barely holding it with you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just stick this in our pocket.
I have the same problem in church. The minister always said, "Get closer to the mic." For some reason, when I sing, I figure everybody should hear me in church. But they get closer to the mic, get closer to the mic.
And the thing is, you're in the moment, you know. You're like not really thinking about the mic. You're just like in the moment.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
No worry. This will be our second. What is it called? Recording. If anything goes wrong, right there.
You just stick
Yeah,
this in
that's
your
like a
pocket.
second audio.
Okay.
That one goes bad because you have the mic. That's one specific audio, and that's another specific audio. It doesn't matter.
I know it's heavy.
Has the question been asked if the church is still standing?
The
church that the shootout happened in. That took place. Is that church still standing?
Oh, no. This particular church was at Hoop Spur. Yeah,
Good idea. The way
that was north of Elaine.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's a bean field there now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did they destroy most of what used to be here?
Yeah.
They destroyed most of what used to be here, most of the history of the area.
Yeah. In fact, we can't see it, but it once was a railroad. The Missouri Pacific took all the rail up, and it's a path where you can walk. It said Ferguson. All right. Now you notice the postal office here says Crumrod, Arkansas.
Right.
In actuality, this is Ferguson, Arkansas, and Ferguson, Arkansas was named after my
Family.
my family people. But when they started removing everything, they removed that sign also. Yeah. But you can look out over the properties here. Most of the properties were owned by black families. Okay, the Billingsley, the Woods, the
Do some of the families still? I see houses. Do some of the families still, or they don't have? Maybe a few still have some of them. Families are still.
No, most of the families now are gone, and their offsprings are gone also.
And they don't want. They're not coming back.
I doubt it. I doubt it seriously.
So how do you?
Yeah.
If the families that people leave and don't want to come back to turn it around, it stays the same.
Yeah. Well, we met with a group from Little Rock, and one of my slogans that has been used, I was using when we had a meeting with a lot of people, and I said, "Give it back." But today, if they were to give back the land my family had, I wouldn't know what to do with it. And the thing about it, equipment is so expensive today. All right, when you take one tractor is $100,000. So if I were to have that property back, I'd have to either rent it out or because I just couldn't I couldn't manage it. But back during the day, there were 15 of us in the family. We could manage that. But it's different now because my family basically have all moved north. They've retired from the factories, and my niece, nephews, etc., there's no way they would come back here to live, And I think that's true with the rest of the families.
Is it because of not being able to do the work, or there's not much to do?
There just isn't much to do, and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's part of it also.
Food.
Yeah. And in fact, if you really wanted to get a really, really good steak, you got to drive 85 miles.
Wow.
Yeah,
So an hour and a half.
And so they just wouldn't give up how, and then they've already built their lives where they're living today. So they just, it wouldn't make sense for them to come back anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but I love here, and I once lived in Detroit. I couldn't adjust then, and if I were to go back today, I'm sure I wouldn't adjust. Yeah, but I enjoy, my wife and I live in a modest house, so we enjoy ourselves. And a lot of the family, when they come home, we have the property where we can stretch out, have a great time, and they stay a couple days, and I say goodbye, and I'm happy about that. Yeah, I love family, truly.
I'll drive you to the airport.
Yeah. Well, then we're approximately 100 miles from the airport.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you go to Memphis, we're 120 miles going west to Little Rock. Okay, but again, we love family, and mostly on Thanksgiving, some Christmas, but we encourage our family to, and I know you didn't come out here to hear this, but we encourage our family to spend time with their families on Christmas and a lot of other days, but we always love to have them come in, okay. But looking west, and this is west, which we can't see. The properties going west were owned by the Hunts, the Bakers, well, most of the Hunts and the Bakers. Going south, it was owned by the Halls, I tried to think of these names last night. But anyway, it was all black owned. It was all black owned. And somehow we lost it all. Somehow. Yeah. And I understand a lot of the records which were at the courthouse were burned.
Wow. No wonder you came back to the property.
Okay. So, you know, that poses a problem, a great problem. In fact, my stepfather was working on this. Lawyer Baker was working on this, but he died before he really had a solution for us. So what happened to the information he worked on, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid of bugs.
Oh, that's all right. No, I say it's all right, but
I have a question about entertainment.
Yeah.
Were there any names of places that you could tell me that you went to, like had good food that here in Elaine?
Well, back during the day, there was a place called the Cool Spot. The Cool Spot.
What?
The Cool Spot.
Oh, the cool spot.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the young people, you know, hang out there. And Elaine had a movie, even though it was segregated. But
when you say Elaine, you're not talking about the plaza that was in West Helena.
No. Yeah, but even in Helena, West Helena, there was a movie there on.
Eliza Miller, the one she owned.
That's on Walnut Street. That was on Walnut Street. But there was a movie theater on Sebastian, Cherry Street, which we weren't allowed to go to. Okay, and there were several eating places in Helena, which we had to use the back entrance. We had to eat where they cooked. Yeah. Okay.
In the kitchen?
Yeah. Yeah. They had counter places back there where we had to eat. You know, if you wanted to eat there. And there was. Excuse me.
Are these both black owned or are these white owned?
Those were white owned during the day.
Okay.
They're no longer there today. Okay. Yeah, they're no longer there.
Were there any prominent musicians and artists that ever passed through Elaine?
I won't say passed through, but anybody ever heard of Sonny Boy Williamson?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he played at a little place, maybe 2,000 feet that way. Yeah. They had a couple of stores there, and he would come down on the Saturday, and he'd play. A lot of people would show up. You know.
But how much was it? For a show, did they play for free?
Free? Free, yeah. Yeah. He would come and entertain the people. Yeah. Because, you know, well, anyway, they would advertise with his on flyer, meal, etc. And these people paid him a salary So he would come down this little place, and he would entertain for a couple hours, and everybody was just, happy about this. Yeah. And again, I did say that back during the day, all black people weren't sharecroppers.
They owned the land.
Yes.
That was a part of the Reconstruction era, right? Where blacks were. So obviously the white people were mad about that, so they took it away, and they were
during 1919. And you imagine during 1919, and what really it began with these persons meeting, forming a union. They want to market their own crops. Okay, someone, don't know who, found out that they could sell their merchandise in Boston. All right, so they were preparing to ship their merchandise to Boston, and of course that would take a lot of money away from the mercantile over in the Helena area. And so as a result, they wanted to break that up. But here's what they did. They put out a statement that they were meeting to kill all white people. Isn't that crazy?
So they lied. Right?
Yeah.
They put out a lie.
Yeah.
It's basically to incite violence.
Sure. But I mean, isn't that true of today? People would rather, some people would rather believe a lie before they believe the truth. And cause a lot of problem. But these people were trying to improve themselves. But can you think, the night these shots were fired, the church was full. Kids, parents, they had to flee. A lot of woods were still in the area. Okay? They had to get out, try to get out of the church, flee to the woods, and stay there. They couldn't go back to their homes. Can you imagine how horrible this is? You're familiar with the mosquitoes in Florida, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to go out in the wooded areas for safety. So I'm sure they fought mosquitoes, they fought what have you, trying to get away. Couldn't go back to their homes, And as a result, they left, and someone just took over their properties. Yeah, So that's sad.
In that swampy area up there, like imagining, they probably have to cross that too, right?
Well, today it isn't swampy, but it was undeveloped during that day. Okay? Yeah.
So it was more.
Yeah. And with the type of equipment that the farmers have today, in fact, they can level the land off, et cetera, and it's a different land today. But this is a fertile land. You can see, yeah, it's a fertile land. So who wouldn't want to own this? And so they saw an opportunity to take it, and that's what they did. Yeah.
And during give it back. Yeah, they need to give it back.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, like, what the people feel as if the federal government should do, because it is, in my opinion, partly their fault, simply because Reconstruction era, you pull all the safety back from the people, and then just allow things like this to happen. So, do you guys feel as if they should be stepping in and helping you all get your land back?
Yes. In fact, I have asked this question. Every ethnic group in America has been compensated for their problems, but the black race, for some reason, they don't feel America owes the black race anything.
The ones who built America.
Yeah. That's sad. To me, it's sad. No one can answer this. And really and truly, I have been in meetings with people in authority, but no one can answer that question. You know, but we need to be compensated. Yeah, absolutely.
Everything they owe us, they stole. They don't want to give it back.
No.
Now I see a lot of like pesticides being used in some of these areas here. Can you talk about some of the effects it's had on just water quality overall, and
Or,
you know,
yeah,
the health?
Dr. William T. Payne, who was a permanent physician and surgeon in this area, told my wife that people would die of cancer in this area because of the pesticide. I'm a cancer victim.
Wow.
Yeah. And several in my family. And just, you can talk to different ones. They all have cancer, you know. But I'm gonna beat mine. I've had radiation treatments. I'm on chemo, not treatments, but chemo medicine.
The pill,
Yeah. So I'm doing great. I feel great.
Amen.
I'm gonna beat it, you know. But so many have died in this area from cancer, and he said it would happen. Yeah, it's a fact.
And they know it'll happen.
Yeah. In fact, I was filling up my car over in the Barton area, talking with a farmer, and we got to talking about pesticides. He told me there's a pesticide that they use. Now, Barton from West Helena is approximately 10 miles, I guess. He said they spray that pesticide like in the Barton area, and overnight it just keeps going, and it'll go right on the West Helena. So that means if I'm walking on the street at night, my windows are raised, you know, I'm breathing it. So we're breathing it, you know. And who knows today as we stand here,
How much is?
what we are breathing. Because they use pesticide chemicals on all these crops. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Okay. All right. I hope I've helped you a little bit.
No, you have.
Yeah.
Is there more to see this way, or?
I'm gonna ask, like,
No.
I saw some houses over there.
Yeah,
they're
more to
empty, or is this?
Or is it
Yeah.
owned by people? Yeah.
Yeah, owned by, it was once owned by
Us,
black,
but it's
yeah.
not owned by white.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
You know, we're kind of like going back like during slavery time. Like, how would people not be able to escape? Because I'm thinking, well, the plantation owners, they live in those big houses, right? And I'm guessing the people that work the land, they would live in small shacks like those, right?
Yeah.
And why wouldn't, like, I see open fields, but I would run straight to the forest, like, right away. So, like, did they have a fence around during those times, or how would they make sure that they wouldn't run away? People wouldn't run. Fear?
Yeah,
How did it work?
It's psychological.
Yeah, and the thing about it,
No, they didn't hire nobody. It was family members that would stand out in the field and watch them.
There was a guy who recorded a song, said St. Peter came to get him. He said, St. Peter, I can't go because I owe my soul to the country store. Basically, that was what was going on. You know, they owed the plantation owner, and the plantation owners was one. Okay, so they couldn't leave one plantation and go to another plantation.
They're looking for you.
Yeah. That's what was going on. So
I know that, like, slaves, if you got caught without like a tag, for like where you came from, like a plantation
Oh,
that
yeah.
had different colored tags,
Yeah, I remember.
they would know where to take you, or like, or they'd know that you ran away.
Yeah.
And they had all different types of dogs. You know, they would go out looking for
Hound
them,
dogs,
everything.
and then-
Yeah, go out. So I mean, you know, it seems like it would be easy to get out, but then this is just miles and miles of plantations. Like, it's not as if you go out and it's free open land.
And how far can
You're
you
going
go?
into
And where
yeah.
No, and if you end, you're gonna end up in another, like you're saying, another plantation, and it's
so
like you're kind of
somebody's
screwed
gonna
with
find
that.
you. Yeah, if
Right.
this one doesn't catch you, the next one will. And
Right.
I mean, they really got you psychologically
Yeah.
when people were found, and they would beat them so bad, and then torture them, and you know, it made an example out of them. Yeah.
That too, right?
Yeah.
That's like-
And plus the fact, if you go east, you run to the Mississippi River.
Right.
If you go south, you go.
You can't cross that.
No. The White River, you know, and so we were surrounded with rivers and so it was just.
It's like for them, it was a perfect spot to, you know, do what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing, the areas they were choosing, how they were developing as they were growing.
Sure.
Wow.
Okay. Anything else? Well, if that's it, we can.
We can ask you. Yeah, we'll ask you more questions in the car.
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
But I think you and Ahmad can get in, and then we'll like let him back up and let us in. And thank you so much for answering all of our questions.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
I have a question.
Okay.
What is like the law enforcement like in Elaine? Is there a city level, or is it by the county, or?
It's city level.
Okay.
City. Yeah.
Are they mostly white officers?
They are now.
Okay.
But the police chief was black.
In 1919.
Oh no, not 19.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
No. But that back in 1919, everything was white. Yeah, everything. But in later years, you know, we had black officers. Yeah, but everything was white controlled. Everything white controlled.
So even if you did own your own land, someone was still controlling you politically.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And socially. Sure, yeah.
Well, not economically if you own
Well,
your own land, but because they.
But even economically, because you had to sell to George here, who was going to give you the lowest dollar for it, and you had no one else, because if you went to Jim and George have already gotten together what they're going to give you, you know, for your.
So they're telling you I won't pay you anything else. We're on one accord.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Are y'all ready?
Are you coming with us to Pensacola?
Oh yeah. I didn't.
Yeah. We're doing like all along AHP, like all that.
You live in Elaine or West Hollywood?
In Elaine? Yes.
It's August 3rd to the 4th, so for like 2 Mondays. Alright, so you got an extra day of recording.
My wife keeps telling us we need to move, and I said, move where? Elaine is about the safest place I know, really now, in the South, because we don't have the shootings and the muggings and even the place where I partially grew up in West Helena. It has become a place of crime.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it about same population size?
Oh no. It's much larger.
You said about 300 people, Elaine?
Yes.
Yeah, but then it was just gravel road, so I don't know if that would be hard. Is it okay
Sure.
Okay.
Or like, you want to stop by there?
Well, oh, okay.
Sorry, I make sound effects when I drive.
She said, what would it take for the post office to be renamed to Ferguson Post Office instead of Camrod?
It would probably have to go through our state legislature.
State legislators, and they're all majority whites, correct? And they're majority white, so new legislature.
Yeah, because Crump and Rogers were two different families, but they farmed in this area, you know, after a lot of the land was secured by white. So millionaires, and they had the money, so they just named it Crump and Rogers. Yeah.
Take it after to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were
Yeah.
they plantation owners?
Yeah, they own a lot of the land.
Crump
Left, right here. Yeah. They had a big store there, and naturally, they
How far do you want me to go down?
not four.
Four? Okay.
He said 12 white.
Yeah, about 11 anyway. I counted them so many that
And did your family used to own any of the land right here?
in this area, we own land a little south of us.
Okay.
Yeah. The Douglas, Manny Douglas, owned land in this area. Yeah.
I hope you've been counting. I said, I hope you've been counting.
Oh, no, I wasn't counting.
Oh, you
but
got
that's a certain feeling. That's a certain feeling.
Is that pesticide? Is that pesticides in the water down there?
Yep. It drains off in the water.
Is that why the water here is a little murky?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no, right in here. Our house was to my left, and it was a tall house because of the flooding back during that day.
It was on states.
Yeah. It was to the left. That had maybe 8 or 9 rooms in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
8?
Yeah.
Did you have a big family or?
There were just 17 of us in the family. Just 17.
Wow.
So that means you had to grab for that biscuit, Not really, because, we had a lot of food. But there were times when we didn't. There were times when we ate a lot of cheese, rice, red beans, things like that. And of course, the family went fishing also. And we would have fish. Yeah. So the Lord sustained us. And by the way, we didn't have an electrical system also. We had that pump. And beside the house, we had barrels. And they would put ashes in the barrels. And they call it slacking the water. And this is what they washed with. Okay? Yeah. The ditch wasn't as deep. But we could come out and catch a good mess crawdads, crayfish, yeah, out of the dish, and cook them. So it was pretty good.
Why? What happened to the house?
They burned it down.
Wow.
Burn it down. Yeah, that was.
In 19 or
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, actually, they just burned it down in the 50s. Yeah. No.
And they, as in white people, burned it down.
Yeah, who had the property then, you know. My parents had moved to Helena to live. Yeah. So it was empty. Yeah. Bring back memories. I can still.
Is there a turn up there? Like I can go in and then come back out this way?
I guess there's a road up there where you can to turn around.
And is that?
But this big wide road, you should be able to turn around on this road.
Huh? Let's see.
Let's see if he passes driving test. All right. Let's see if he. Is that the pesticides that they are spraying over there that you were talking
Get ready to
about?
take it out, like push it out. Ooh.
No. Oh yeah.
Good job.
I don't think it's gonna be 3 points. I'm gonna do like 5.
Yeah, I would have done 5 too.
Yeah, the next
Yeah.
one's like for sure I got it.
15 students, 50 potential lawyers.
You got it.
Yeah, there we go.
If it were me, we would have been in the ditch. So luckily it's you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. C+. No, that was fine.
We could have pushed it out. It was
And do you know what this is growing here?
That's soybeans.
Soybeans.
Mm-hmm. They make soy cakes. They put them in sardines.
Wow.
And the other things they use soybean.
Yeah, there's a lot of things
yeah.
they make from
Yeah.
soybeans now. That's really, I mean, of course it's lucrative. They have so much of it.
Yeah.
what's that?
That's just an old warehouse. There used to be a gin there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said this is a store here?
Yeah.
Right next to the family's house?
Right.
Oh,
where we're
right
done.
there. Probably found it. Or something is coming. I was like, but look at them. Oh my God. It's the raccoons. Across the street.
What
Yeah.
kind of native wildlife, I guess, is prominent in this area?
All right. You can name it. Bear,
Wow.
panther,
Wow. Panthers.
yeah. Raccoon, possum. And by the way, that's why we are hoping that boa constrictor doesn't, I understand, is moving north in Florida. Yeah. So we have a lot of small animals in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about deer?
Oh yeah, deer.
I swore I saw one earlier. I wanted to make sure that there was some in the area.
Yes. But there aren't as many as they once was because they have cleaned up the property, you know. And
There's not as many wood.
that's right. The deer need the covering.
Yeah.
a lot of just like really bad like road damage. Is that from like the big machinery, the weather? What's causing that?
Those large trucks
Yeah.
that haul grain. We have petitioned the state, I don't know how many times, to fix this, but so far they have not. This is much better than what it was 6 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see all where they come out and it seems like they put out in some roads.
Blacktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy too because it's almost corporations. Right. But they're using them and they're making them bad for you.
We'd haul our product from Crumrod to the little place right back up to Gin there, you know, and they would process it there.
You said you still do or you used to?
Oh, we used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what type of crops did your family grow, or did majority of the black folks around here grow?
Soybean, corn, and cotton. Yeah.
After 1919, where did majority of the people that survived, like where did they go? Was there a city or did they go up north?
I would want to think they went north.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, fear is a powerful weapon. Mm-hmm. And so, if they managed to get through those 3 days, mm-hmm. they was getting out here going north, right, where they felt they were safe. Yeah. And by the way, fear still is a powerful weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the plane that. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. Coming from Florida, I noticed a lot of the agriculture. I see a lot of airplanes spraying fertilizers, but over there they use more machinery, like on the ground. So is there a reason why they do that instead of the ground? Like instead of going on the airplane, why don't they do it on the ground? Like throw in the pesticides in the machine.
What's the difference between the airplane pesticides and the ones here on the ground, or ones that are sprayed on the ground through a truck?
Well, the airplanes are much faster. You know.
Airplanes are faster.
Yeah, and they can cover so much more territory. Well, they rarely put out pesticide from tractors nowadays. Mm-hmm. Rarely. And by the way, I failed to tell you, the first postmaster we had down in Ferguson was Joe Ferguson. a relative of mine. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Is flooding still a really big issue today, or not as much?
Somewhat,
Yeah.
but they have put large ditches, in various areas.
Oh, so that the
Yeah,
water
yeah.
triples.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have a larger problem in Elaine than on the farms.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like everyone on the planet is trying to see how did I get that big old dent on the side? Like, how did I get that big old dent? Maybe a tree or something flew in a storm?
It's like a whole bunch of
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like heat over time. Like,
Oh, that's a good. That makes sense.
I don't know that it's somebody.
All of those are related. It's like those. Well, at least it's at the right house. In Elaine, are there grocery stores and like shops and stuff?
Well, there's Family Dollar. There's Robert's One Stop.
Is that like a gas station?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the former police chief opened up a restaurant there.
Okay.
Other than that, well, no, there's like a little Dairy Queen
Okay.
that's open part-time. Yeah, it's open during the noon hour and during the evening hour. Yeah.
Now, is there any? Did you all like ever want a grocery store or something larger in the area?
Well, we had a fairly large grocery store, but the owners died, and no one put another one there.
So do you all just like? Where's the nearest one outside of here? Would you have to travel far to go get?
23 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 23 miles north.
Oh.
Yeah.
So not. That's around 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes for most people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you and your wife get married here, or were a lot of the marriages at the courthouse or at the church?
We were married in their home. In fact, when my wife and I were married, her mother was ill. She had cancer. Her dad was a butcher, so we decided to get married within their home, so her mother could witness it. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that usual that people got married with their family in a small place, or did they usually get married in a church, or?
Normally they would get. No, that's all right. Normally they would get married at a church. A few would go to the courthouse. But in our case, the mother was unable to travel very far. Okay. In fact, she sort of propped up against the doorway as we received exchanged our vows. Yeah, but she was really feeble. But a beautiful person. She was a beautiful person.
And did you have any children?
We have 6. Yeah. Well, Elaine, who lived in Chicago, worked for the Chicago Stock Exchange. She had cancer also. Yeah, yeah. We have 2 sons who retired from the military. One lives in Killeen, the other in South Haven. Our daughter, who lives in West Helena, worked for the Social Security Administration. I have a son who is retired, lives in Elaine. I have a son who's still working. He lives in South Chicago. Yeah.
So 2 migrated up north, and the others stayed here.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter is a graduate of Delta State University. William IV finished high school. He went on to service, and he became a nurse in service, and he flew helicopters. Daryl went to service, and he became a mechanic. Dennis Earl did not go to service, but after he got out of school, he owned a couple of businesses over in Chicago, and later on, sorry, you can go on around him. You can go on around him. Later on, worked for the city of Chicago. So I believe that's where he's working now. Yeah. And Joel had a health problem. He was unable to work. Yeah. That's about it.
And do you have grandkids also?
Oh, but don't ask me how many. I cannot tell you how many.
Well, that's a blessing. If you don't know, that means there's a lot.
But on the other hand, we just buried a granddaughter 3 weeks ago. 3 years ago, we buried a granddaughter. Well, 2 granddaughters. One granddaughter was living in Indiana, Got up late for work that morning. Go make up time on the highway. Ran into a concrete embankment and was killed instantly. And the other baby granddaughter was born prematurely. And she was in an incubator down in Texas. And you know, my wife and I drove down to see her. And as I prayed for her, I mean, she's a little tiny, something like that. She just grabbed one of my fingers, just grabbing, held it tight, you know, as I was praying for her. And but she had passed away, the left right here. Yes. Yes, indeed. So, we've had tragedy also. Yes, yes. So listen, I want to thank you for listening to me. I don't, yeah.
Do you know if this guy's still open?
Yep.
He's still open?
There was,
I guess the guy who used to own this place is still open?
no, I don't know where he went. He went someplace. Yeah.
We were just wondering because we talked to him last time.
Oh, it's been a long, very long time. Yeah.
Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much for talking to us.
I pray you have a pleasant stay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Candy.
Yeah, back out. That's good.
Back on up. You can go ahead.
Oh.
Did you stay in Helena last night?
No, we stayed in Forest City.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
We were there like this morning.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, you probably saw Centennial Church. It was a really run-down building. Yeah. So that's about all I can tell you about that.